What's up, people? This is Nature Girl 30 here, and I'm going to give you my review of 12 rounds. But before I actually do that, I actually did watch two dramas that were done by The Rock and John Cena. Now, I tried to make it interactive, but since nobody voted for it, I'm going to give my verdict on it. And my winner for the drama battle is going to be John Cena's Legendary. I actually believe his character. I felt his character's pain. I think that movie was a lot better. I mean, The Gridiron Game was a good movie, but honestly, you felt John Cena's character more than you would feel The Rock's character, as even though it was an autobiography. Well, I mean, it was based on a true story. I still believe John Cena's character more than The Rock's character. But moving on from there, grief, my eyes are burning for some strange reason. But anyway, moving on from there, I am doing a review on 12 rounds. Now, going into this, a lot of people saying, oh my gosh, it was crap, it was terrible. I watched the uncut version, so maybe things would be a little bit different if they actually watched the uncut version. They should have had that in theaters. But anyway, I have to say that I truly liked this movie. I really did. I thought this movie was great. Well, it was great because it reminded me of my two favorite classes. Actually, didn't remind me. It was a complete sheer knockoff of my two favorite classic movies, and I'm talking about Speed and Die Hard with a Vengeance. Now, it completely ripped these movies off. I'm gonna give you some examples. As soon as I stop rubbing my eye, good grief, my eye is burning. I don't know why. I probably stuff is in my eyes, but okay. Um, can we say Simon Gruber? Yes, the main villain in this movie was called Miles Jackson. Miles Jackson was played by Aidan Gillian. He was an international arms dealer that kind of went crazy after his girlfriend Erica died, unfortunately by the hands of John Cena's character Danny Fisher. Well, it really wasn't by his hands; it was a complete accident, and she got hit by a truck. But still, he was out for revenge, and he was out for getting back at John Cena's character. Now, can we say Simon Gruber? Because for those that have seen Die Hard with a Vengeance, we all know that Simon Gruber was the brother of Hans in the first movie. Now, the sheer fact that John McClane killed off Hans, that kind of was somewhat of a motivator for him to get back at John McClane, even though in the end it ended up being all about a robbery and all about money, which was the same premise as this movie. It ended up being all about money. Number two, he had him running all over the place playing this game called Simon Says in Die Hard with a Vengeance. He did the same exact thing in 12 rounds. He was playing 12 rounds going on a bus, on a train, stealing from a car, blah, blah, blah. Here, it was the same thing as Die Hard with a Vengeance, and that's the one thing that bothered me. Now, the only difference between this movie and that was the fact that he wouldn't run around with Samuel L. Jackson or a black man, period. He had help from a black man, but he didn't run around the whole time with a black man. That was the only difference. But good grief. Can we say explosions galore as well? And also, the guy was a strategist. He was always one step ahead. Simon Gruber was always one step ahead. He was always playing with John McClane. He did the same exact thing with Danny Fisher in 12 rounds. That Miles Jackson was constantly playing the game, constantly one step ahead of the FBI, one step ahead of Danny. He was the same exact character with the same exact mindset as Simon Gruber. The only difference was that Simon Gruber was German and Miles Jackson was Irish. That's the only difference. But it was still the same movie. Also, moving on to Speed. Can we say this movie screams Speed? Can we say bomb on the bus? Yes, there was a bomb on the freaking bus. And no one yelled it. I was waiting for someone to yell it. Not only that, the girlfriend had a bomb vest strapped to her, just like Sandra Bullock's character had a bomb vest strapped to her at the end of Speed. Same thing. There was also an elevator scene. The fact that the elevator broke and then somebody fell all the way down, and they still, either or, they still had an elevator scene there. They were seen by all the cameras all over every building, like Big Brother was watching them, just like in Speed. That guy in Speed, I can't remember his name, he was one step ahead of Keanu Reeves' character. One step ahead because he had cameras watching him. Same thing in 12 rounds. I mean, it was just one thing that just bothered me, one after the other. It just reminded me far too much of Speed, just without the whole Speed part. They had this constant phone calls with cellular phones that like were playing a let's play a game. Same game, 12 rounds, pop quiz hot shot, same thing with 12 rounds. That was the only thing, excuse me, that bothered me about this movie because it really knocked off two of my favorite classic action movies, Speed and Die Hard with a Vengeance. Gosh, no originality. The only original, it wasn't even original. The only thing I could say about that was really good about this movie was the villains. I like Steve Harris as George Aiken. George Aiken, he was a mix between he was a mix between a villain. I guess I could really pretty much call him an anti-hero maybe because he straddled that line between good and bad. He had his own view of what's good and bad. He had tunnel vision about catching this guy. He could care less about who he stepped on. And Steve Harris plays the best douchebags on the planet. Has anybody seen Diary of a Mad Black Woman? If you haven't, watch it. You will not like that guy after watching it. Also, Aidan Gillian, I am not familiar with his work, but I know that he played a really cool, collected arms dealer. This guy was calm, cool, and collected as Miles Jackson. I loved him in this movie. And plus, this movie wasn't all about John Cena. It was actually it kind of had the villains had more of a life of its own. The villains were pretty much made the movie for me, but then John Cena somehow got in the middle of it, and it still was kind of like a good fit. But all in all, I was really pissed they knocked off two of my favorite classic movies. They weren't original when it came to that, but the characters themselves weren't forgettable. So it's gonna be tough, but I'm gonna give it 2.5 stars. I have to give this rating 2.5 out of 5. If I have to do that, I'll give it 2.5 out of 5. So that's my rating right there, and I'm sticking to it. The next movie I'm gonna watch is going to be Faster. I'm hearing good things about this movie. I think it's gonna be really cool. Since tonight is Monday, you are going to hear my raw review later on tonight. This is Nature Girl 30 signing off. Peace, y'all. See you later. Stay tuned for my next review.